Nice.
Good morning. Welcome to Thursday. It's Suzilla.
Oh, Pop Rocks. Hi, it's Susie.
And Matt.
Hi, Matt. Welcome to Thursday, Suzilla. All that good stuff.
Yeah, you got to excuse us. We're kind of amused.
We got a gift basket from our
Was it Blossom Valley?
Blossom Creek, from our one of our partners at one of our local assisted living teams.
Yeah, they actually came by. They wanted to remind us that there is a support group out there for people that are caretakers of people that are suffering through mental. I always
like Alzheimer's. I
refer to it as Alzheimer's, but I know it's
like dementia related situations. This is kind of cool. But we're just kind of unpacking it, seeing what's in there. There's some nifty looking things. There's crazy straws, ring pops.
Yes, so we're having a little bit of fun, and it kind of leads to our day, our topic today, which is it's okay to have a bad day.
Yes, that is absolutely true. There's not that long ago, there was even some billboards. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
What the theory behind this was to reduce the stigma of like mental health issues. Which is because, let's be realistic, for always, if you were having any kind of issues, if you were depressed or were living with any significant mental health issues, or even less significant mental health issues, you were not encouraged to talk about it.
Yeah, and
you were supposed to hide that stuff.
You were supposed to put on this really fake, false positivity.
Exactly.
And not everyone is a morning DJ.
Well, even morning DJs turn on as a fake positivity sometimes,
But you would refer to it as your work base.
Oh yeah, the work base is a real thing, because if you're working in a retail or a client facing situation, you do not let on that you're having a bad day. You put on it's a full on mask. And having a work face on all the time will beat you up.
Oh yeah,
it will absolutely beat you up.
And there are points in your life that everyone deals with some heavy stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, something happens personally. Your cat dies, your parent dies, your spouse dies. Death is a big thing. Sometimes you just pick up and move. Moving is even if you want to move houses, it's very, very stressful.
Change jobs.
Changing jobs.
Job might be not going so well. You might have a new jerk boss.
That's right. Maybe there's a new employee got hired that you don't have good chemistry with. There's reasons why things are the way they are.
And there are also non-reasons. I'm one of those people that in my 20s was blessed with the ability to wake up angry at the world.
Yeah, you lucky duck.
That was probably a little bit of my post-army time.
Yeah, I can guarantee.
Post-divorce time, post-dad dying.
He had a bad patch.
So yeah, I had a bad patch. I had not one, but two people quit drinking because they drank with me one night.
Really? I did not know that story.
So
you drank a couple people under the table and they said, no more.
This is bad.
This is too much. I'm not doing this anymore.
Too much. Yeah, they did not receive the army training that I did.
No. To be fair, Matt is a much smarter drinker these days.
I rarely drink to the point where I've had doctors say, you need to have a beer once in a while.
Yeah, he's at most a social drinker. Not even that frequently. I mean, maybe once a month, maybe.
Maybe. I think my chili gets more beer than I do. Because I make chili more on a fairly regular basis, and he gets a beer. And there's stews. But it's really okay because, having a bad day is sometimes it's just your body, your emotional, your mind trying to get through some of the garbage you're going through. And they're going to be, everyone has a bad day.
Oh, yeah.
I still have bad days.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things that I learned about myself, well, I've known it for a long time, but finally did something about it, was I get into diagnosable depressions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'm dealing with that. I've sought counseling, I'm on medication, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Well, that's part of it. It's the that's sort of the preventative.
Yeah.
But
that's a whole different thing. That's not just having a bad day.
And that's preventing you from having other bad days.
It's helping reduce the severity of the bad days.
Yeah.
I mean, there were days when I'd wake up in the morning and I'd start sobbing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't do that very much anymore.
Yeah, and mental health it's one of those things that has a huge stigma, as Susie mentioned, and for whatever reason. I know there are a lot of churches out there that wail, don't go. Church of Scientology is a good one for wailing against psychology or counseling.
Scientologists are they're big anti-psychiatry. Psychology.
When you get into the more culty things, you'll see that because it's someone outside providing help. There are other organizations, other churches that will actually have their pastors do heavy duty counseling training.
Oh yeah, it's. I think that's a really important for that because a lot of people are told speak to your pastor, seek your pastor out. The pastors, besides the spiritual training, a lot of them really do well if they have an additional layer of psychological training.
It depends on their training, and it also depends on what they're going to use it for.
Oh yeah.
Because there are some that do what really well and counsel their flock
and help them through tough times.
And help them through tough times. And then there's others that it becomes a gossipy, miserable mess.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
So yeah, it's one of those ones. That's why I usually recommend having someone that you can talk to that is outside of the situation.
Exactly. Sometimes you find, and this is one thing I noticed when I was working in the pharmacy, is people will just absolutely unload upon you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because you're not connected to it.
And you're safe.
And it happens here in my office, too. I get a lot of stories.
Oh, we hear all sorts of horrible stories that we can't repeat.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna. But at least working in this insurance industry versus pharmacy is I'm not having people take off their shirts and show me stuff. Because I've had that happen.
Yeah.
Never had anyone drop.
What's this rash?
Yeah, I've never had anyone drop their drawers, but I have heard stories.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that kind of stuff. But again, from an emotional and a standpoint, yeah, having somebody who's not deep in the situation, who is a bystander, as it were, someone who's got a unbiased view, can really shed a different perspective on things.
Yeah.
That's where counselors can be.
Counselors are huge.
It can be hugely helpful.
if it's not the good friend that's outside of the situation, they can provide solid, not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear advice. They're solid. Same with a counselor. If next step is getting that professional level, hey, I need some help. I know that our state budget, they're working on actually providing a couple more, several $1 million to kind of boost that mental health aspect.
We really are struggling here in Central Washington with professional counselors. We have a dearth of mental health professionals.
Well, some of it is we have some mental health professionals that we've actually have helped a couple clients look for mental health professionals, and we discovered that, hey, some will accept Medicaid, Apple Health. Awesome.
Which unfortunately can be difficult.
And there's not enough. We definitely need to up that. There's a couple counts saying that, we need at least one or two more per 1,000 counselors in our area. The other one is there's quite clearly the mental health aspect, which is required by the ACA and qualified health plans, needs more in our area and support those plans.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, because a lot of people who need this, who need help and need care, they can't afford to pay cash.
It's the playing the cash game, and that is some of it has to deal with the payment of the mental health professionals,
and they deserve to earn a living.
And everyone deserves to earn a living.
Yeah.
Ooh, keychain.
Ooh, it's a bottle opener.
Yeah, Blossom Valley.
Nice. There we go. Now we're confirmed it's Blossom Valley.
Yes.
One thing that I happen to have a friend who is a mental health counselor. Actually, I have a couple.
You have a couple.
This particular person works over out of the 206 area code. They're over on the coast, as it were. And they've got clients. One of the things that really would turn out to be interesting from COVID is a lot more telemedicine.
Yes.
And they work with clients in Grant County. They have a rather specialized specialty. I'm not going to go into details, but it's hard for people in certain parts of the state to get that specialization care. And telehealth has made a huge difference with their lives. It's helping, and actually now that I think about it, I could probably put them together with somebody else.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain just went into one of those little crawl, clink things. Just because it's not easy but telehealth is making it easier.
Yeah.
And which is great.
And I suspect we're going to see some more telehealth in parts of the country, like Texas, because of what the governor did regarding trans kids.
Oh yeah. I'm going into a little more detail with that.
The trans community is one that's been picked on forever.
Well, yeah.
And it's one of those ones that I'm basically been to this big dad sheepdog forever. You just like look at it, it's like, why are you picking on someone that they can't defend themselves? Knock it off. And Texas is taking a stance of, hey, I could get more votes if I pick on these people. So yeah, they're kicking the puppy, and they're saying, hey, if trans parents are supportive of their kids in this process, they're committing child abuse, and they're be turned in. It's a really horrible situation. It's unfortunately they've elected officials that support that. Unfortunately, there's judges in play that will support that decision. Contrary to some of the laws that are in play. I'm looking at Section 1557 of the ACA and even HIPAA, because HIPAA, it's like you're telling medical information from one group to another.
Well, when you're dealing with, because the Texas thing is, if you're turning in the parents of a trans person,
well, you're turning in the supportive parents.
Right.
It's not the dirtbags that kick their kids out on the street.
No, they're not. No, but if you're turning in the parents of a supportive person, you're not violating the trans person's personal HIPAA. You're just messing with their support system.
Yeah,
and that's just not okay.
Yeah, it's just like, what? It's like, why are you doing it? It's like
they're doing it because they're not nice people, Matt. And not nice people don't support their community.
Well, and the reason I bring up, and this is one of those important ones.
And you need to stop eating chocolate while you're on the microphone.
Was Section 1557. It's one of those ones that every trans person should just pretty much memorize. Every LGBTQ should memorize, because it is rights for medical care.
Yes. And a person has right.
It is so important, and here's one of the signs that is so important. The Florida "Don't Say You're Gay" House bill is 1557.
Don't say you're gay House bill.
Yes, the kids. It's just
was it like a don't ask, don't tell situation?
Kind of, sort of. It's more bigotry directed at a population that it shouldn't be, that don't need more problems.
No, of course not.
But that's Florida.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are safe states.
Safer states.
No, it's like 13 states that have protected human rights.
Yes. Washington State's pretty good about that kind of thing. However, depends on where you live in Washington State as to how well those will be enforced.
Yeah, and
let's be honest, Central Washington, Eastern Washington, we can be a bunch of narrow-minded bigots.
Well, we kind of, to be fair, we, in our position with supporting the ACA, we had programs in play to support well before it became popular.
Yeah. Washington State is kind of a leader in some of these programs.
Well, it was like when we set up our agency block, it's like, oh, what do? We put in pronouns.
Oh yeah, first thing we did is okay, what's your preferred pronoun?
We also went with, what name do you prefer to be called by versus what's your legal name? Because we do have to work with legal documents.
We do, because we're dealing with a government entity. We have to go with what the government calls you versus what you are called.
And that's very important because when there is a process to transition, it takes several years. We've assisted a number of folks through that process.
And we're not going to stop.
We're not going to stop anytime soon. It's just, it's taking care of people. That's part of some acceptance on our part.
Yeah.
And it's also some coping.
Okay.
Coping. You need to find people, around you that, like I said, don't say what you want to hear, say what you need to hear.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing. These are people that will tell you the truth, that are hey, yeah, you look like you're having a bad day. Do you need, some extra foam on your coffee?
Small stuff. Some can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, because one of the things we've discovered early on was there are remarkable women in our community that usually are taken care of.
Generations.
Extended families all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And it's like those are the people that we see that don't get the support.
No, they're the ones that need it more than anybody.
And when I say it's like, oh my gosh,
how are you doing that?
How are you functional here?
I mean, we've seen situations where one woman supports not just emotionally and physically but financially a family of extended family of a dozen people or more.
Yeah.
And they're with just very little. And everyone just leans on her for everything.
Yeah. And
to the point where they can't even, make their own doctor appointments level.
Yeah, it's really remarkable, and
and we love these people.
We love them, and we enable the heck out of them.
Yeah.
And some, it's like, come to our office. If you just need to chill out and watch YouTube videos, you can chill out.
If you need to run away from home for a while, we got a spot for you.
Yeah, we will find a spot for you. It's because we know that if that one person goes down, their network that they've built up of taking care of other people will collapse in horrible results.
So if you think about it, somebody who's doing that.
Oh yeah.
So take a minute and be kind to them. and make sure they're okay.
Oh yeah, check in with them. And if they say, "Oh no, I'm not doing okay," it's like, well, how can I, make your life better?
They're not going to say, "I'm not doing okay." They're not.
Some recognize it, and part of this, like I said, so part of this whole process of it's okay to have a bad day. The first step is acceptance.
Exactly. You need to be able to say, "No, I'm not okay today."
Yes, and those are the people. It's like, okay, hey, they're on the not okay side. Awesome. What can I do to make your day better?
Yeah.
Pounce on that.
Oh yeah.
Pounce on the big tiger you are.
Yeah. Well, what we're also dealing with here is there's control issues there almost always. Folks don't want to admit they're not having a bad day. You got to get your head around the fact that it's all right to say, "No, I'm not okay today. I need a cup of coffee."
I actually did that for a couple days.
What, you personally or to me?
Well, no.
Because I'll do that occasionally.
Going shopping. And one of the things is how's your day going? And I would say rotten.
Uh-huh.
And you could watch the gears just crash in the person because they've got this routine. They really don't care what your day's going. They just got a routine and they want to get through it as quick as possible. How are you?
I'm fine.
And they expect that I'm fine.
Well, sometimes I'm fine ain't the truth. And Matt's really
so there was a point
clear about the truth.
Yeah, I'm really clear. So there was more than once that I went out and I did that because I was having a rotten day, and I wanted people to know I was having a rotten day.
Which, when it comes to certain people, it's good to know they're having a rotten day so you can steer clear of them.
Like I said, I have this ability to wake up and you can just see waves of bad coming off me.
Oh yeah,
it's like
he doesn't do it often, but when you do, you just make sure that he has comforting things, and he's never. I never feel threatened by him. Don't ever feel like there's ever any kind of fear or danger there. But there's points when you just don't poke the frickin' bear.
Yeah. I made it a point when I was going through the worst of that stuff not to have firearms in the house.
That's wise.
Because that's part of that coping and preventative.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to take a bad situation and make it worse.
Yeah, because that could happen really fast.
There's points where I was having bad. I didn't add alcohol on it because I didn't want to take a bad situation and make it worse.
Exactly.
Self-medication, I'm not a big fan of.
No, that's generally leads down a path that a lot of folks can't get off of. Self-medication, because you're drinking, you're smoking a lot of weed, you're taking pills, you're just and you're not treating the core base of what's going on. You're just treating symptoms and you're not treating them properly. And so you suddenly have yourself with a whole nother pile of problems. You have an addiction issue suddenly, that's where a professional can be really, really useful.
Yeah. If you are, fully embraced in this woohoo wine culture, because we're in the wine part of the state.
We are.
And if you find yourself that every single event you have a glass of wine in your hand, you might have a problem.
Well, okay, we were at a kid's birthday party one time in public, and one of the parents brought a bottle of beer with them. Yeah. It's like, this is not a drinking party. Why do you have a beer? This isn't a restaurant. This isn't a bar. This is
not Chuck E. Cheese approved.
This is not Chuck E. Cheese approved. This is just a bunch of kids getting together, and it wasn't at someone's house. And it's like, what's the problem here? I mean, I was very confused by that. Yeah. And concerned. It's like, okay, the only way to get through this is to be drinking. Something's not right.
Yeah, and that's like I said, there is coping. Working through it with your comforts. Yep. And however, your comforts can't be creating other problems.
Right. Yeah.
Because if they're creating other problems, you're just fueling that cycle to keep going.
Right. You're hiding behind the dependence to it's not okay.
So let's get into some of the preventative.
Okay, we got a few minutes.
We've got a few minutes because preventative is it's important. We talk about blowing off steam.
Yes.
Or one of our favorites that we've started recently is No Judgment Day.
Yes. So that's about once in a while when we're having we just have a day where it's like, no judgment. We're not going to judge you for watching a lousy movie. We're not going to judge you for eating a bag of Cheetos. We're not going to judge you for ordering a pizza for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to judge you for sitting around in your pajamas all day.
Yeah,
it's a family thing. It's just our little family. We're not going to give anyone a heck about what they're doing unless it's dangerous.
Yeah, and that's kind of important is because let's face it, life is kind of stressful. The whole judgment thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you like Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
It's like, really, do I have to be judged for enjoying an Adam Sandler movie every once in a while?
Depends on the movie.
It depends on the movie. See, judgment.
Yeah, I know. But if you wanted to watch Little Nicky on No Judgment Day, I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
I'm just saying.
Uh-huh. This it's the same as if you're going to and we sometimes we plan. We haven't quite gotten to the I'm going to make 7-layer dip and chill out all Saturday in front of the TV.
We've come close.
But we haven't. We have not quite blown up No Judgment Day that far. There are, like I said, preventative. You got to find, at least one person that you can talk to that'll tell you the absolute truth.
Yeah.
And that involves no judgment.
Yeah.
If you can't find that friend, you get the professional help. Mm-hmm. Seriously. One of the things that I do a lot less these days is get my hair cut.
Yes.
Since I've been sporting the shaved head,
I
don't. That one's not available.
That's a self-care thing, but you do have an appointment to get your beard tightened up today.
Correct, but that's part of preventative.
Yeah.
There are steps that because I can feel when it's not how to fix this. These are some of the things that are dressing up. Mm-hmm. Having occasion to dress up.
Mm-hmm.
I did that way back in the day in Banta. Was occasionally I'd say, I decided it's suit and tie day. Mm-hmm. And that was part of my preventative steps. Mm-hmm. Because it didn't make anything bad. Doing things for others. Mm-hmm. I found that's incredibly useful.
Oh yeah,
because it gets me out of my headspace and do things for others.
He does have a tendency to use that to enable the snot out of me.
Yeah,
which can be very entertaining. One thing I learned about Matt is I always have to be careful with what I ask him because he'll do whatever he can to get what I want.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that I perpetuate around me. It's like, oh, hey, I need this. It's like, okay. Make it happen.
Let's see how we can make it happen. Yeah.
But
basically a lot of it boils down to is self-care.
Yeah.
Taking care of yourself, recognizing your cues, recognizing your own personal cues.
What's your trigger for your bad?
Recognizing that and dealing with it appropriately. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's having a shot of tequila in a safe space, but not usually.
Again, I'm not gonna advocate for that. Because I've seen so many people crawl into a bottle.
Oh yeah, you're right. You've seen that a lot more than I have in a more acute manner. Mine have always been a lot more passive. They exist, but they're
Oh, you.
Oh, I've had it, but it hasn't been as go out and get blasted level. It's more of a even keel.
Oh, the even keel are the worst.
I know. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it was.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Let's
the
have
maintenance drinkers.
The maintenance drinkers. Let's come home from a hard day of underwriting and pour yourself a highball and watch NASCAR. I've known more than one person like that.
Mm-hmm. And then pour a second highball, and pour a third highball
until they're passed out.
Exactly.
Get ready, and they wake up the next day and start the next day.
Exactly. And the maintenance, and that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but what it boils down to is know yourself, mm-hmm. know your triggers, know how to soothe yourself so you don't fall into a hole. Take care of yourself. Take care of your neighbors. Take care of your community.
Yeah.
And keep an eye out on the people who need the help.
Yeah, it's some of it for me. And like I said, this is for me. You got to accept, the situation you're in. You embrace the suck. You got to embrace your community, mm-hmm. Because a lot of suck happens from being solo.
Yeah.
Not being plugged in, not being part of it. And extending yourself out, and when you see someone that's struggling, say, "Hey, I can help this person."
Mm-hmm. And usually as a result, you end up getting helped yourself a little bit.
Exactly. So, hey, have a great day.
Yes,
it's okay to have a bad one.
It is okay to have a bad one.
Because I know more than one person woke up in Central Washington, go, "Oh, I hate the snow. It's horrible."
Yeah.